Let's come to Iran. What happened in Iran? It's a member of the NPT. Why hasn't it withdrawn when it's facing so much of problems? One of you will answer that question subsequently. Okay. So, because it's part of the NPT, it is heavily, imposed by inspections, IAEA inspections. What do the inspections do? You have nuclear reactors as your nuclear power plants, correct? You have your fuel rods that go into, doing the work, and those fuel rods are enriched up to 3 to 5%. That is enough for a nuclear power plant. For a weapons grade, you need to enrich it to 90%. Correct? We are talking about U-235, right? From a normal ore. Okay, so the IAEA now looks at how many rods, where are you getting those rods from, how is it used, what is the residue, where does the residue go, what is the waste, how do you recycle the residue and reuse it, all that is tracked. Correct? That is where the inspection is there. But if the IAEA also plays a dirty game in geopolitics because they are controlled largely by the Western powers and say, no, this guy is close to, he's not opening out something for us, he's close to enriching to 90%, then the US puts a pressure on them. And that is what they're accusing the IAEA of. All right, now, how many of you are aware of the Stuxnet attack? The first time, they built a lot of centrifuge capability in the first stage, and in 2008, their centrifuge capability was destroyed. How was it destroyed? Have you heard this cyber attack, Stuxnet? Okay, the Israelis and Americans joined hands together. It was a Siemens system that they were working with. They penetrated through a Siemens engineer's laptop, they injected a virus. That virus, when you now plug the laptop for a regular maintenance into the system, it moved in, lay dormant for 6 months, observing how the centrifuge works, and then got into it at the right time, because this is all defined when it will get activated. And then as the centrifuge works, it will gradually pick up the speed and then reduce the speed, and continuously it will work for a few more months like that. And then at some point of time, it will build the centrifuge and keep accelerating to a speed beyond its permissible limits, and then break up the whole centrifuge system. Okay, so this is a virus attack. Therefore, the ambiguity comes in. A virus attack, is it, or a cyber attack on a critical facility like your nuclear power plant? Will that constitute an act of war? This is something we will have to, the world is debating, we'll have to look at that. Now, JCPOA, after 2008, then Obama had come in, then they got the 5+1, that is the security members, 5 security members plus Germany, because Germany were the main technology suppliers, and they crafted this treaty where inspections will take place, they will not move enrichment beyond 20% or something, and then they will remain within limits. What is JCPOA? Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Okay, so now this was scrapped by Trump in his first term. So he actually broke the deal. The Iranians were not at fault. Okay, but unfortunately, there is another element that is part of this. Now they've gone into the, they've built more centrifuges. Now Israel is attacked, the US is attacked, and all that. Now JCPOA is being renegotiated, but along with that, they're not addressing Iran's major concerns. But there are 3 countries which are UK, France, and Germany, part of the 5+1, who have the freedom to take up the issue in the UN Security Council or General Assembly and lodge an action to impose sanctions on Iran all over again, or more sanctions on Iran. They're under sanctions anyway, right? That's called the snapback clause. That is a clause that's built in, and there are no discussions, no voting in the UN General Assembly. So that snapback has already been activated. 30 days time, that 30 days finishes on September 30th, and what will happen? So now Iran will have to take a call. Walk out of the NPT, tie up with the Russians and Chinese, and go explicitly nuclear, saying it is mandatory for our national security. That's what North Korea did. Right? Same thing, this is a trick. So what will happen? They will get problems in sanctions with the European nations and this, but as far as their capabilities and technology are concerned, today alternates are available. But it is for Iran. Despite all these problems for years together, Iran joined the nuclear non-proliferation treaty during the Shah's regime, one of the earliest countries to join it. The Islamic regime has maintained that, right? But for a strange reason, they continue to stick to that, despite all the problems that they faced. So this is that time.